to my studio. Today we're going to continue with our rose. This color happens to be red and yellow, and we're painting ours peach. And the colors that we're using is M-gram Quinacridone rose, and then we also have M-gram Phthalo blue and Nickle Azo yellow. Those are the three colors. Plus I found, and those are all transparent colors, this one is Rose d'Or, and it's by the Phoenix Professional Watercolor Company, and it is also transparent color, and it is a really lovely peach color, so we're going to use that. What we're going to do then, this one turned out really lovely. I'm very happy with that. I really like the background, so I'm thrilled with that. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint this petal, and this one is kind of broken into two areas, as you can see on our resource material. Underneath is the darker color, and then up on top is the lighter peach, and then a kind of a mixture on that corner there. So we're going to start there. We're doing the wet on wet. This is 300-pound Arches watercolor paper, one of my favorites. I would say Arches is my favorite, but 300-pound is a little heavy, but I like it, for especially with a background. You need to add a lot of water to get that nice soft airbrushed effect for that background. So you want to make sure that you have a very heavy paper that can handle that amount of water. Not all 140-pound papers can. So when I'm doing something like this, I usually will use a 300-pound paper. This one's on a block, so it makes life a lot easier. I don't have to stretch it. I don't have to do anything like that. I don't even have to tape it down. I'm really lazy. Okay. I'll do what I have to do to make a painting work, but if I don't have to do all those things, I'm just going to turn my resource material so I can see it. Yeah, this looks good. I'm just making sure I have the water where I want it. Making sure the glaze of water goes all the way to the edge of the petal. And now as I lift it up so I can see it in the light, there's some areas that I missed. So it's real important to be sure and look at the side of your paper, lift it up like this if you need to, because you need that completely saturated. Otherwise, what happens without any water there and you're adding your paint, the paint won't adhere where there isn't any water. Okay, so I'm going to let that first layer soak a little bit. Soak in a little bit, and then I'm going to go right down the center with my second glaze, because I want to make sure that this gets covered. And since this petal is dry, you can go right up to the edge of that petal. Now there is a little separation down here, but we'll get that in. Paint it all at once. And those are the kind of details that really make your painting look great. It's when you pick up on the fact that there's actually part of this petal that's behind there. So it's important to look for those kinds of details. All right, now I did go over on this edge. So I'm just gonna fold my paper towel and pick that up. Stop any problems. I'm going to set my watercolor brush or my water brush aside, and I'm going to go to my number 4. I'm going to pick up the lightest peach color that we have. I'm probably going to add just a touch of water to it too. And don't forget, this is just our first glaze of color. Don't want to put in all the details to begin with because it'll just never work. Do your basic foundation first. Just like when you're doing your makeup, you want to do your basic foundation. And then put on your blush and your eyeliner and mascara and whatever else you may apply. But the foundation is very important. And that's what we're doing here. Now I'm going to go into our darker. I'm going to add just a touch of our magenta. Not magenta, but rose madder. Quinacridone rose, I'll get it right. Yeah, Quinacridone rose to our mid-value peach color because I want that to be just a tad darker, of course, because underneath here it is. Yeah, perfect. Darker. Just looking at the reference material, make sure I'm getting this right. And this is going to blend together. It's going to soften that line a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. This section down here has got just a little bit of peach to it, so we'll come back and add that in. This corner is probably the darkest reddish color, but we're not, again, that's our detail work. So we're not doing that right now. We're just doing a glaze. Reinforcing this line and bringing it up to create that detail of that fold in the petal. Just a little bit more of the color I'm looking for. And that's moist enough that it's not going to dry. All right, so I'm going to clean my brush. Don't want this to come down quite this far because I want some of that peach on that corner there. So I'm going to just make sure my brush is nice and dry. It has to be drier than the paper to pick up paint. I'm just going to pick up that corner and we'll be reinforcing it again too. So this is again just our first value. Now, I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of that paint here. Go into our darker value and create this corner on this little petal. So we're just going to bring it down like this. Now I'm going to go into my peach. Let that outside corner have that peach color on it. Boy, my palette is really dry. So I'm having a hard time making my color stick because I don't have enough moisture. Go to the darker value up here because we want to separate those out a little bit more than what they are. Whenever you can, turn your resource material so it's going exactly the way you're painting. And then you're able to see exactly what you need or want. All right. Dry wiping my brush. Just pull out some of this color over here. See how that's starting to come up now where it wouldn't before because it was still too moist. Once it starts to soak in, that's the best time to pick up color if you need to. Same thing there. And right down there. Just because I don't want to lose this little section. Does not like me today. There we go. I'm just gonna basically outline it. Wow. Looks great as I load it over here on my palette, and then when I come to my paper, it just doesn't want to accept it. So we're gonna do that. I want to do the same thing up here so we don't lose this area. And it's just going to be a soft outline here, and then we will know what we're doing. Okay, let that set so I don't get my hands in it. I'm gonna move on to our next petal. And since I don't want to get into this one, let's go ahead and do this little petal up here that comes down over here. So it goes behind that. Pick up my water brush. I'm just using the tip of my brush to get in this outline of this petal so I know where we're going. Okay, so as I look at the side, and it felt like it was really dry, the center did not have any water on it, so we're going to add some. That looks good. Doesn't hurt to smooth it out as you apply it, making sure that you're getting right up to the edge of that petal. That little section is part of that petal too. So you want to make sure you get that left-hand section there. And right in here. This actually comes down fairly far. It doesn't look too bad. Okay. Now. So making sure we get this all covered. And same thing over here. Second coat of water just in a smaller area like this does not need a ton. Okay. Now to me, as I look at the side of this, it appears that I kind of went over that flip that sits right next to it there. So just wipe that part back. For some reason that spot doesn't want to pick up water. There it goes. That's good. And this goes right up to there. Okay, so we look good. Now we're going to start out with the light pink again. Again, this is just our first water wash. I'm going to just turn this one more time so I can get at it this way. And I'm going to do the entire 2 portions of this petal in the light value first. And then we can go back in and add some darks. This side continues over here. Comes down a ways. That portion of the petal dried really quickly. I could feel it. Must not have had as much paint on there as I should have. Make sure that goes all the way to that edge there. Looks good. Okay. Actually, the top portion on this side of the petal and the bottom portion on that side are the 2 darker areas. So I'm picking up just a little bit of our red, Quinacridone Rose, and our peach color. I'm creating, since this one's right here, we'll add in the dark first. And don't forget, watercolors dry about 20% lighter than the way they look when you put them down. And we're putting it on top of the other color that's there, so that lightens it too. Now this is kind of in a streaky fashion, so I'm going to put it up to the edge, drop it in, and then we'll pull it down. clean my brush. Just make sure that it's just damp and not soaking wet. And then I'll pull it down. Need to add a little bit more color to get that to pull down a little bit better. Just so you get the general idea at this point. Yeah. Okay. So we got those guys done. This one's way too light, so it'll need another coat, but that's okay. Now let's see which one we can do. We'll go on to this one. It won't be touching any of the others. Then we don't have to dry prematurely. So this one comes down like this, and it creates a point here. Now, if at this point in time while you're doing your painting, you feel that it needs more yellow, add more yellow. If you feel it needs more of the peach color, go ahead and add the peach color. It's your painting. Again, they're all going to be different. It's how heavy-handed you are or how light-handed you are. And actually from day to day, there are times I can be very heavy-handed, and then the next day I'll reverse it and go very light. So, and everybody's the same. But that's what makes life good. There isn't an artist out there that's taking a class that wants to have the identical, trying to get that hair out of there, it doesn't want to come, painting that the teacher has, because it's an impossibility. But boy, everybody tries to. About every class I've ever taught, I should say, somebody says, but it doesn't look like yours. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to look like mine. Just looking at the side, making sure got it the way we want it. That looks right there. Add some more water to the center. Kind of smooth it all in. I finally got it. All right. Now that seems to have a lot of moisture on there, so I'm going to just let it soak in while I putz with it. And we'll do this one the same way. The entire thing will be peach. First, just letting the water soak in. Peach is kind of taking the place of the yellow on the resource material, and you can certainly paint it the colors that are there. I'm just not into, thought this would be so lovely as a peach rose instead of a yellow-red rose. A lot of moisture on this one yet, I can feel it. So I'm going to just gently move it around the color and let it go where we want it to go. Okay, now pick up some of the darker color we've been using, which is the Quinacridone Rose and the Peach color mixed together. Pretty colors. We want this to add in the way the petal grows. We will be doing some veining. There's not a ton of veining on this one, so that way it's kind of an easier rose to paint, but that's okay. They're just as much fun as the ones that have all the detail and the veining. Basically right down this edge is the darkest spot, so that's where I'm going to reinforce. Now there is a section right as this petal starts, right down here, that's quite dark. I'm going to put that in. Now on this section of this petal is a real bright highlight. So I'm going to let this soak in for a moment. And my brush is nice and dry. It needs to be drier than the paper. And it can be very frustrating to go in and pull color out and it won't come up. So you're better off just waiting for it to dry a little bit more. That corner's got a spot too, so that one's a little bit drier than the inside section. Wipe your brush in between. You don't want to reapply any paint. Sometimes you need to straighten your brush out. That one's still pretty wet right there, so we're going to just give it another second. Straighten out that edge. Just lifting up this corner a little bit more. These are the little kind of details that really make a lovely painting, is if you can follow these details. Pick up your highlights as you go. we go. Now it's getting drier. Kind of strange, it has to be drier to be able to pick it up. But it's the tricks of the trade. Now we could have put down masking fluid and approached it in that fashion too. I just really like the way the masking fluid worked on for the background, but inside the petals of the rose, I really like the softness of us just picking it up rather than using masking fluid at every spot like that. See, and it's still moist enough that it's backwashing in, even though I picked it up from here before and it was almost white, it flowed back in. So you got to watch your areas that you're trying to lighten and make sure that doesn't happen, or all your hard work on lightening it's just gone away. There. All right, I'm going to dry this. Take a moment and dry this. Soften in that section. And I'll be right back with you and we can start on a couple more petals.